The Washington Examiner. Men need work in a way women don't. Hello and welcome to my channel. I am the Anti-Woke Warrior. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody to please like, comment, share, subscribe, and make sure that you're still subscribed. Now, I do want to bring up another issue before we get into this article, and that is, for some reason, I've been receiving a lot of negativity lately on YouTube, and I don't know what that is all about. You are allowed to speak to me in a derogatory manner. That is part of freedom of speech, in my opinion. So, you're not going to hurt me by saying things. I have thicker skin than that. But, if you're out there just like looking to pick a fight or trying to troll me or something like that, I wholeheartedly admit that I am not the best YouTuber. I say in more than one of my videos that I am not a great presenter. I am not a great orator. That's just not my area of expertise, not my forte, so to speak. I encourage you to leave constructive criticism. If you think that I need to be better somehow, I did something wrong in my videos, by all means, point it out. I appreciate the criticism. But if you're just going to try to pick a fight with me, it's like, okay, what are you going to do over the internet? I've even had people tell me that I'm not actually anti-woke. It's like, well, what's the alternative? There are other people on YouTube talking about anti-woke stuff. And if they got rid of all of those people and I was the only one here, what are you going to do? So I might be your last best hope, or even the best hope that we have. Who knows? But let's get into this article. Unfortunately, it is an opinion piece, but I do want to point out that there are other people who think like I do out there. There are other people who are in the manosphere. We all know this, that I'm not the only person speaking up for men's rights and pointing out the fact that women have all of the advantages in our society, but for whatever reason, we're led to believe that they are somehow oppressed. So, welcome to the year 2020. This is a little bit older. I've been sitting on this one for a couple of years now, but welcome to the year 2020, when women now comprise the majority of the workforce. It only took 50 years. The jobs report strongly suggests that the labor market dynamics are tilting in the direction of women, said Joe Brusuelas, I don't know how to say that, chief economist at RSM US. We often look for tangible evidence of change. It is now here in the data. Some will cheer this phenomenon as a boon for women and for society, but it is anything but. When men dominate the workforce, there's no negative effect on marriage and family. But unemployed and underemployed men have 0% chance of finding a wife. We envision ourselves progressive when it comes to women and work. Yeah, that's what we want to be, is progressive. That's like a four-letter word in my opinion. But women are still and always will be the sex that gets pregnant. As such, they know that if they want to have children, and if they want the option of taking care of those children, if only for a few years, they need a competent working husband on whom they can rely. This is not exactly true. Women can rely on a man who makes a lot of money, in the United States anyway. Eddie Murphy recently got into trouble this few years ago, where some woman just basically sperm jacked him, got him to sleep with her. She got pregnant, and she's like, well, you're going to be paying for my kid and me because you're worth a lot of money. And that's the problem with our child support system in the United States. It's based on the income of the parents. So if you have, say, the father who makes $1 million a year, then that child support is going to be a lot higher. It might be $100,000, it might be $200,000 a year. And if you can't live on that, two people can't live on that much money in the United States, then there's something definitely wrong. So women don't necessarily have to rely on a husband to support them. They can just sperm jack some guy. The state will offer welfare, so you can get out of working in that regard, but it's not a good living there. You're barely making it on welfare, and you have to apply for like housing assistance and stuff. In California, we definitely have to apply for housing assistance because it's not cheap to rent around here. Women also aren't attracted to men who lack ambition or drive. A man doesn't need to be rich, but he needs to know where he's going and how he's going to get there. I suppose that's true. I don't know that all women feel that way, but as a general rule, it's probably the case. We cannot reverse the sexes in this scenario and end up with the same result. A woman's employment status determines 0 of her physical attractiveness. That is a true statement, and women don't understand this. Women think that if they make more money, that men are going to be more attracted to them. They're looking at it from their perspective and going, well, this is what I'm attracted to. So men are attracted to the same thing. It's just not true. The average man isn't looking for a woman who can support him. Nope, he's not. Because we've been told our whole lives that we have to go out there and support. And this is just a biological thing, really. Men are the ones who go out and earn a living. They are the ones who go out and kill the wildebeest. Nor is his desire for her related to her level of ambition. No, it's definitely not. Men are not interested. I mean, we are. I mean, I don't want a woman who just wants to sit around and watch TV all day. But it's like if I had to choose like a great woman who wanted to sit around and watch TV all day, or a not great woman who wanted to go out and earn a living, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to take the one who wants to sit around and watch TV all day. So his attachment to work is very different from a woman's. Work is a man's identity, his means of being useful. Yep, that is true. This is actually the true for women and men. Actually, I see that it's not as true for women. Women can find a lot of fulfillment in having children, but people have to do something. They have to find meaning in this world. It's really important that people do that. That is why, until recently, men have always placed work at the center of their life goals. Yep. To be clear, this is not an argument against women being in the workforce at all. It is merely to acknowledge that men and women aren't interchangeable. Thus, the outcomes will be different when we act as though they are. Men have an innate desire to protect and to provide for their families. This is not true of all men. I would say men have an innate desire to protect women. They will protect children, but they're more likely to protect women. That's kind of how we're built. But most women, unless they are single mothers, work for different reasons. For autonomy, for extra income, or because they believe that without work, they aren't valuable. Yeah, men are the ones who believe that without work they're not valuable. That's very true amongst the male population. But women, yeah, a lot of times they don't need to work, and so they are going to school and doing all this so that they don't have to be stuck at home being housewives. That's fine, I guess. Well, it's not fine, but I mean it's okay. It's not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world when you're not raising children. Like I understand a woman like going to college and getting a degree and spending all this time and energy and money on learning something, and then she never gets to use it because she's going to be a housewife her whole life, and that is kind of a pointless endeavor then. And I would rather see a woman use that education after she's done raising her children, but they want to do that before they've even had children or during the time they're trying to raise children. It doesn't make much sense to me, but what do I know? Not true, but you can thank feminists for that. So he says it's not true, but you can thank feminists for that. Whatever the reason, it's not because they have a desire to support a husband. Right. Women don't want to support a husband. They want to support children, or they want to find fulfillment in some sort of meaningful work. Gen X here, and I can say that I have worked my entire adult life full-time and through college, supported my unemployed husband when he was out of work, and currently earn more than he does. And I hate it. Bitter is not a strong enough word for how I feel, writes Karen in a comment on the Wall Street Journal article about women in the workforce. This is, of course, not true of all women, because both my brothers married women who earn more than they do. Now, they do okay. The one especially, he could support himself, but the other one I'm not so sure about. And my sister earns more than all three of her brothers combined. So I come from a family of high-earning women, you could say. And women have always worked. This is not a new phenomenon. So it's not like we're fighting against something that's brand new. There was a time that women were restricted in what they could do. That's no longer the case. Women can do any job that they want to. Imagine a husband writing the same thing. Gen X here, and I can say that I have worked my entire adult life full-time and through college, supported my unemployed wife when she was out of work, and currently earn more than she does. And I hate it. Bitter is not a strong enough word for how I feel. Yeah, you'd never hear that coming out of a man's mouth. Not seriously, anyway. Just typing that feels silly. It is a rare man who would say such a thing. Karen, on the other hand, is not unusual. It is a rare woman who works full-time and year-round for years and years and doesn't burn out or become resentful, particularly if she has children or wants children. The baby question is just one part of the early 30s milieu. There's a distinct loss of ambition, writes Brady Jabor in The Guardian. I don't know. The women that come through my life want to work for the most part. They want to have jobs. They want to work full-time. And I've never seen a woman get burnt out on that any more so than a man does. So I don't know what they're talking about here. But at the same time, I mean, we see happiness rates in women dropping year on year. They just have been plummeting, really, whereas men happiness rates have been staying roughly the same. So something's going on. There's a distinct loss of ambition for women. Men can burn out too, of course, but they don't typically fantasize about dropping out of the workforce or being unemployed. On the contrary, men are lost when they're not working. Male suicide has risen sharply. Okay, we can take a look at that stat and see if that's understanding suicide among men and see if there's any kind of statistical data in here. I don't know that there is. Here we go. Suicide rate is the highest among middle-aged men. Well, that doesn't. The suicide rate for men was 3.5 times higher than it was for women. Well, yeah, that's always been the case. I was hoping it would be like 3.5 times higher than it has been in the past. But no, they didn't talk about that. So this article doesn't appear to be saying that the suicide rate for men is rising. Maybe it does, but I'm not seeing that anywhere in here. I don't know if he's what is this? Nothing in here that's going to confirm his claim there. I don't know if the suicide rates are rising or not. I have not looked that up. Maybe what happened to my article here? Did it just jumped? I don't know why I did that, but whatever. So anyway, maybe more men are committing suicide, but it's harder for men these days. We see this. I do know that the age at which people are purchasing a home is increasing. So I think the median age right now in the United States is 33 years. And in the 1960s or 50s, I think it was, I think it was the 1940s, it was 23. So it's gone up to 33. Now, people are living longer, so maybe that has something to do with it, but I think more likely it is the economic situation that we're dealing with in this country, and part of that does come down to women in the workforce. Women have come to dominate the workforce. Now, as we see by this article here, more than 50% of the jobs are held by women. That might be different now with the pandemic. This article is almost 2 years old. It was written in January of 2020. And I hope that it is, because people need to take on more traditional gender roles. The world will be a happier place. It will be a stronger place to live in. It will be a safer place to live in, I should say. You see. And much of this is due to unemployment or underemployment. This is what he says about the suicide rate. Men need work in a way women do not. Thus, it makes more sense for men to have a leg up in the marketplace. At the end of the day, nothing good will come from men being displaced by women in the workforce. This phenomenon has and will continue to create a sharp decline in marriage and family formation, and will increase the likelihood of divorce and even death. Right. So this is where this paragraph right here is really the one that is obvious to me and stands out to me, is because there used to be a time when a woman was financially dependent on a man in this country, in the world in general. That's how it kind of worked. Is women, there weren't so many jobs that women could do, and the pay was almost always lower than what a man could do. Women could make it on their own, and they often did, and they did it without feminism. There were successful women, very successful women, before feminism came along. But the thing is the system was set up so that women were dependent on a man, so that a man could get access to what a woman has to offer, which is the intimacy that we all desire. And as a result of that, then the woman would have stability, financial stability in her life, and the man would have the intimacy that he needs, and then society could function. When you start taking that away, what's happening here? We see violence. There's been shootouts in the Northwest. There was a few weeks ago, there was that shootout, and I think it was either Seattle or Portland, I don't remember, but yeah, I got shot in the chest right in the street, people shooting back and forth at each other. Look at what happened with 2020 and all of the rioting that was going on. These things that are this escalation of violence in this country, and worse. I think it's coming from, at least in part, from the fact that women just are not interested in having these long-term relationships. And a lot of men are not getting what they need from women. Men need that. I'm sorry, but they do. So something has to change. That's not progress, it's a regress. Yep. And that's what I just said. So, it's the whole thing comes down to is women want to be like men, and that's what feminism is pushing for. Women should be like men. We're not allowed to say actress anymore. It's not actress, it's an actor. Don't you know? And it's like, why are you denying the feminine? Really, I don't understand that. Why not just accept that there are genders and we should honor the feminine along with the masculine? But see, people think in their head, they're like, oh, you use the female version of that word, that means you're being derogatory towards that person, or you're being oppressive towards that person in some way. And it's like, I'm not denigrating anybody. I'm just acknowledging that person is a different gender. Then there's nothing wrong with that. You can be, either gender. It's fine. I appreciate both for different reasons. So I just want to go over this article and let everybody know that I'm still out there making videos on the role of feminism in our society and how it's ruining everything. But thank you for watching. I do appreciate everybody stopping by. And please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.